Please, enough. No, more.
Encryption. We've had it around for decades, but people and companies still don't use it. I'm going to start with you, Mike. What have you heard enough about regarding encryption, and what would you like to hear a lot more?
So earlier, Elliot was talking about don't sell us unsolved problems. The thing that I hear too much on is encryption at rest on laptops. It's a solved problem. Stop talking about that. It's well understood. Maybe there's a little bit in the static keys, and there's profession to tell us, hey, just use a static key. So maybe there's some of that we need to stop talking about, but stop talking about solved problems. What I'd like to talk about more is encryption inside a network, encryption in transit. We talk about it a lot across the internet. We're not talking about it enough within an environment. That's an area I'd like to see discussed more. Encryption in use. We talk about in rest, we talk about in transit. In use, it's interesting. That's an area that I'd like to hear more of. I think there's opportunity there. And the last thing I'd say is key management at scale. How do we do key management in large environments? I'd like to hear more about that as well.
All right. I throw the same question to you, Elliot, of which your product is a data being sort of self-aware, if you will, and that it can self-encrypt itself if it's trying to be accessed by a user that shouldn't have access to it. What have you heard enough about encryption, and what would you like to hear a lot more?
Well, first things first, let's put encryption in the right slot for once. We need to stop thinking that it's the solution. It's a tool in the toolkit. You can use that to obfuscate and protect data in all kinds of ways, fashions, and forms. But at the end of the day, whether to encrypt, decrypt, knowing when to use this tool, knowing when to allow the tool to do its function, that's the key. And the thing the industry's been missing is thinking that encryption is the solution and not just a tool in the solution. And to give an example how we've taken a look at it, yes, we use encryption. We use multiple layers of encryption, but each layer of that encryption has a function. It has an intelligence feature. It has the ability to say, I'm going to now decrypt this layer because these decisions and these heuristics have been met. And then encryption allows you to have multiple layers of protection, but it's intelligent protection. So what I want to see the industry get away from is thinking that encryption is actually the solution rather than just a tool. It also, when you use encryption in the wrong way, when you think that if I just, as Mike rightly said, hard disk encryption on a laptop, if a hacker really knows what they're doing and they are doing a custom attack on you, they're going to steal identity, they're going to steal encryption material, and they're going to steal the data that's been encrypted. And then they're going to decrypt it anyway. This is why whenever you have data stolen or you have data taken, the assumption is it doesn't matter if encryption is on it, it's still a matter of you have to assume that it's been opened up anyway. And so it's just a checkbox again. We have to make the tools intelligent and be able to use them with the proper capabilities to make them useful.
All right. So I want this to be an opportunity to explain a little bit more about Kiavi data, because I actually got a chance to see it sort of in action and see how it works. And by the way, I'm kind of impressed by the user interface. Pretty darn simple. I like that a lot. Explain the mechanics of how it works. It's self-aware data. Explain what that means.
Sure, absolutely. So we went on the premise of looking at what's going to stop data breaches, and data sharing is going to be safe. And when data goes out of your control plane, how can you know that it's doing what you want it to do, and how can you control it even after it leaves your control? What we've done is we've actually infused into data itself the ability to be self-aware, self-intelligent, and self-protecting. What does that mean? In today's world, if someone touches your data in today's world and it leaves your control plane, you have no idea what's happening to it, what the visibility is of it, who's touching it, who's copying it, where it's going to. It's gone. There's no way to get that visibility back. What we've done is we've taken the two common denominators across all of technology, data and the people that use and create it. We use those as the basis of security. We infused into data itself at the data level the ability for the data, when someone touches it, to wake up and say, who are you? Where am I? What device is this? Why did I ever leave Mike's office? I'm geospecific aware. I'm time embargo aware. I'm identity aware. I'm device aware. I know what Mike intended for me to do, or more specifically, what not to do. And then it can make intelligent choices on its own at the data level, no matter where it goes, as to what it should do in any given instance.
So let me pause you right there. It seems to me kind of like a magic box. So I'm trying to understand it, grok it. How is the data self-aware? And how does this sort of knowledge carry with the data?
So again, encryption is a tool. We have multiple layers of encryption around a piece of data. Now we've embedded into those encryption layers what we call vDNA, which is microdatabasing in the wrapper of the data itself. That microdatabasing holds all of its policies, all of its controls, all of its owner's commands, all of its authorized identity, and it's built into those encryption layers, thus enabling the data to be able to make intelligent decisions using an agent or agentless mode on whatever device you want. And we kept it incredibly simple and pluggable into any kind of OS, any kind of application.
And is it literally attached to every file? Is that essentially how it works?
It can literally wrap every file with this individually, and the microdatabasing contains all of its intelligence. And therefore, it can say not only what you want it to do in any given case, but now it works in perpetuity. Because let's say Mike and I are doing business today, he shares a bunch of data with me, and he turns around and says, I don't want to do business with Elliot 2 weeks later. It's not going to work out.
You wouldn't do that, Mike, would you?
Never.
No, I'm totally trustworthy. So what would happen here is that now Mike can open up his laptop or his cell phone, hit one button, and any data he's ever sent me, no matter where it's stored, no matter how many copies he made, will follow my instruction and say, I'm sorry, Mike says no now, and it will follow that in perpetuity.
You know what this is good for, Mike? We talked about this, I think, on a previous episode about when you're letting employees go and they may have sensitive data on their laptops and stuff.
It sounds like a use case of it. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And another thing we can do with this too, because it's geosensitive, you hit one button when you sign into your service for the first time, and you can register your home address as part of the geofencing of the corporation. And now at the data level, all data will remain geofenced to authorized addresses in the entire company, including home addresses.